as we all know, right, that cost pressure is something that's very real for all SMEs. Every time we have, different situation, the boss will think, can I do it myself?
Need a bit of money.
Exactly, right? Yes, you can save some money. By doing this, maybe I can get closer to the accounts. I maybe know a bit more. The cons is that as SME bosses, like we always say, is it the best use of your time?
Right. It may not be their capability or their core strength also.
Exactly, right? It's growing time.
Hey, Jackson. Recently we hear that some of our clients are facing staff turnover.
Okay.
For example, the accountants is leaving, or retiring, or headcount reduction. So some of them have come back to us and asked, what can they do in this kind of situation?
So I guess for most companies, this is quite a common thing, staff turnover, and what does the SME bosses do, in this situation, right? So, few options. One option is that, they replace the accountant, hiring another one. Option two is that they can choose to do it yourself,
The boss do it themselves.
The boss doing themselves. Okay. Option three could be outsourcing. They outsource the accounting bookkeeping function to outsource provider. So let's go through the pros and cons for this, right? So if they were to choose to hire another accountant, the pros of this approach, right, is obviously, a person coming in, just replacing whatever has been done by the previous accountant, just repeating, right? So to the boss, to the internal processes, nothing has changed. Very good, right? The cons is that you will still come up with that talent management issue. Because who can guarantee that the person will not leave the company or the person is a good fit to the company, right? The next thing is that for this new person, right, you still need to spend time to train the person, right, about the internal processes. You will still need to worry about whether this person is capable, up to date with all the accounting and tax regulation in Singapore or wherever you're operating. Right? Option two, which is doing it yourself, right? Because as we all know, right, that cost pressure is something that's very real for all SMEs. Every time we have, different situation, the boss will think, can I do it myself?
Need a bit of money.
Exactly, right? So the thing is that, yes, you can save some money. You may say, by doing this, maybe I can get closer to the accounts. I maybe know a bit more, right? The cons is that as SME bosses, like we always say, is it the best use of your time?
Right. It may not be their capability or their core strength also.
Exactly, right? If you tell me that, okay, you used to study a bit of accounting or bookkeeping when you were in school, I can do it, Jackson, fine, but only at that level of bookkeeping, right? Do you know how to calculate tax? Right? You may not know. Right? Again, there is that learning curve that you got to overcome.
And it may be more costly if you get it wrong.
Exactly, right? So you might still need to defer to another expert to help you. So end of the day, this might be the worst option of everything. Right? So option three is that, you outsource the bookkeeping function to a third-party company, that can take care of whatever are your invoices, whatever are your bills, they take care of the bookkeeping basically, right? The pros is likely that you might experience some cost savings because the bookkeeping company may be able to do all these things in a very systematic manner. Because they're more productive, they save you some money. So the cons is that to you as a business owner, right, it's almost status quo. Do you get more insights to your business? Probably not. Do you get, better financial making decision? Maybe not, right? So this is also something for you to consider. So what we are seeing today, right, is that pairing digitization with outsourcing.
Yeah, so we see the new technology, right, doing a lot to automate a lot of the work, right, and actually accountants also need to upskill themselves to make sure they are in line with all the new development that's happening, right. And also, I think in terms of digital tools and technology, it actually helps to automate a lot of the, the basic entry-level work, right? Data entry, reconciliation work, right? Such that accountants can actually focus on higher-level work, doing analysis and providing insights to what the business is performing in order to give sort of better decision-making power back to the business, right? And also, I think when you work with a digital tool, I think it makes sure that your record keeping is complete. Right? It's there. It's not like it's in a file, and you lose it somewhere along the way. And in case IRAS or whoever come and audit your papers, you are sure that the documents are somewhere to be retrieved. And I think a lot of this work will actually help companies to do better and in the longer run actually save money and actually perform better as well.
And I think one thing that we also notice in the younger generation is that they no longer wants to do the regular, very mundane type of repetitive work of, record keeping and things, right? And I think this is where technology plays a very big part. So for example, we talk about OCR. They are able to, let's say, pull out information on your invoice or your bills. And for the accountant, right, is that instead of being the one that punch in all like what I used to do in 20 years ago, right, now they are basically able to extract and review it and approve. So I think for the younger generation, they find that they are doing more value-added work. And I think even for them, right, is that their time can be spent on analytics, right, business insights. So I think for the accountants, they will find that it's more fulfilling work as well.
I think it also goes beyond sort of the regular backward-looking accounting work also.
Correct.
For example, beyond your accounting software, there are tools such as expense management tool, right, that allows you to OCR your invoices, but also coming out with, let's say, corporate cuts, right, that allow sort of the company to create budgets, right, to limit their spending. For example, they may want to have a cut for advertising, a cut for travel, right, and all these limits can be set on the cut itself, such that, if the limits are breached, further spending is limited.
Yes.
Right, and that actually provide the company with a real-time update of what's going on, and also actively manage their spending.
Yeah, because I can imagine in my older days, right, when you want to spend on, let's say, certain things, right, first you got to get approval from the bosses, and after that, probably you got to spend it from your own credit card, and that takes a while for the company to reimburse you. Right. So with the card spend, I think it's will help in the employee satisfaction, because for employee side, they don't have to be the one that actually fork out the cash for the company.
I mean, I can also imagine in my older days, right, how you do reimbursement. You take the receipt, taper into a piece of paper, write what is it all about, handle it to the finance staff. I cannot imagine the finance staff is very fulfilled, doing this kind of work as well.
All right. So talking about that, right? So it seems like there is a lot of advantages, pros and cons when it comes to pairing digitization and also the outsource type of role, right? I think it helps the company to really save costs, right? It also probably helps the business owners themselves to get better visibility.
Right.
But obviously, with all this, right, it is not like, once you decide to adopt that solution, right, you'll be able to do it, right? So I guess in the way that we see all this kind of solution, right, it's always about firstly understanding what can be done by it. So I think for all business owners, right, we always tell them that, look, do a diagnostic of currently what are your internal processes in your company first. What are the parts that you think you can outsource, right? So be very clear about, what you want to achieve first. It's number one. Number two is that you need to get stakeholders buying. Because can you imagine that, let's say you have, the internal sales guy who has never used a digitization tool before. Now you insist on putting it there. The kind of like pressure is almost...
It's only as good as the people using it.
Exactly, right? So I think this is something that, you need to get internal buy-ins. Number three is obviously, you got to expect that, not all tools and not all processes will be perfect from day one, right? You need to give it a bit of time for the processes to stabilize. And let's say you have any questions, it's always good to feedback to your provider. Hey, this is how I'm doing it. Can we do a better way?
I think with that, we have shared a lot about what a company can do if the accountant actually leave the company. I think, for example, we always think that outsourcing paired with digitalization makes for an ideal solution.
So if bosses, right, if let's say you have your employees leaving you and you don't know what to do, talk to us.